Hello, Chapter 5 of Junie B. the Toothless Wonder. Chapter 5 is called The Fairy. That night we had festivities. Festivities was when my grandpa and grandma come over and all of us eat cake. Grandma Helen Miller made the cake herself. She put a big smiley face on top. Only that is not all, because the smiley face had a tooth missing, just like me. I laughed and laughed at that silly thing. Then I reached in my pocket and I got my tooth and I passed it all around the table. "Oh, that's a beaut, Junie B," said Grandma Miller. "I know it, Grandma. I know it is a beaut," I said real proud. "I can't wait to take it to school for show and tell. The children are going to love this thing." Daddy looked strange at me. "Oh, gee, I don't know, honey," he said. "I'm not sure you should take your tooth to school." Mother shook her head. "No, Junie B, that's definitely not a good idea," she said. "Besides, you won't even have your tooth on Monday, remember? You have to leave it for the tooth fairy tonight." Just then, my skin got chill bumps again, and the butterflies came back in my stomach. Because I know stuff about the fairy, that's why. My voice felt kind of shaky. "Yeah, only what if I don't want to leave my tooth for the fairy, Mother?" I said. "What if I just want to take it to show and tell, and that's all?" Mother shook her head again. "No, Junie B, no show and tell," she said. "Taking a tooth to show and tell is just, well, it's just disgusting," said Daddy. "Yes," said Mother, "disgusting." I whined at those two. "No, it isn't," I said. "Lots of kids bring teeth to school, because one time Roger brought a shark's tooth, and he even let me and her put it right in our mouths, and then we looked like sharks too." I thought some more. "Plus another time, Shirley brought her grandmother's dentures, and lots of us put those on our mouths too." Grandma Miller did a little gag, only I don't actually know why. My grandma patted her head. "Just be glad she doesn't want to take the spit cup," he whispered. Just then, my whole face lit up. "'Cause I have ears like a hawk, of course." "The spit cup! The spit cup! I will take the spit cup!" I hollered. I jumped down from my chair and I zoomed to the bathroom. Then I got the spit cup out of the trash and I dusted it off real good. "Good news, people," I shouted real loud. "There's still some blood around the edges." I ran quick back to show them. Grandma Miller closed her eyes at that sight. Then Mother put her head on the table and hid her face in her arms. The festivities were over, I believe. After Grandma and Grandpa Miller left, Mother took me to the bathroom and we brushed my teeth real careful. Then I took my loose tooth out of my pocket and I brushed that guy too. I held it up to the light. "Look," I said. "Look how shiny I made it. I really wish I could take this tooth to school, Mother. I really, really wish that with all my might." Mother gave me a hug. "I know you do, Junie B," she said, "but it's going to be fun to put it under your pillow tonight, isn't it?" She smiled. "I remember when I was a little girl, I couldn't wait to wake up in the morning and find how much money the tooth fairy had left me." My skin got prickly at that name again. Also, sweaty came on my head. I thought and thought about what to do. Then finally, I stood on my tippy toes and I whispered in Mother's ear. "Yeah, only I know stuff about the fairy, Mother." I said. "I know the truth." Mother looked shocked at me. "The truth?" she said. "You know the truth?" "Yes," I whispered again. "I know the exact truth, Mother, because last year Polly Allen Puffer told me the whole entire story." I took another big breath, and then I cupped my hands around her ear, and I talked even quieter. "The fairy isn't real," I said. "The tooth fairy is just pretend." Mother's eyes got big and wide at me. "No," she said. "Yes," I whispered back. "Polly Allen learned it from his big brother. The tooth fairy isn't a fairy at all. She's actually a teensy little tooth witch." Mother's mouth came all the way open. "A tooth witch?" "Shh," I said. "We have to talk soft, Mother. If the tooth witch hears anyone telling her secret, she flies into their room at night and she pinches their cheeks." Mother covered her face with her hands. She was in shock, I believe. "Polly Allen's brother even saw the tooth witch," I said, "because one night he put a tooth under his pillow and he stayed awake all night and he saw the tooth witch fly into his room on a teensy little toothbrush." "Oh my," said Mother. "I know it is, oh my," I said, "and that is not even the worst part. Because that witch walked right under his pillow and she carried out his tooth and she chomped a big bite out of it just like it was a big tooth apple." Mother made a noise behind her hands. I patted her very nice. "I know how you feel," she said. "This is very hard to hear." Finally, Mother took away her hands. "But it doesn't really make sense, Junie B," she said. "I mean, why would a mean little witch leave money under the pillow? A witch would never do something that nice, would she?" I rolled my eyes all the way up to the ceiling. Because sometimes I have to explain everything to that woman. Of course she would, Mother. Don't you get it? The witch leaves money so that children think she's really a fairy. Because if children don't think she's a fairy, they won't leave their teeth, right? And if they don't leave their teeth, the witch won't get any tooth apples. Mother closed her eyes very tight. Then, all of a sudden, she opened up the bathroom door and she ran out of the room. She was taking it harder than I thought. And that's the end of chapter 5.